I'm so thrilled to be here, and I see many familiar faces. Just a few weeks ago, we marched as one under a CUNY banner at the Queen's Pride Parade, the first Sunday in June this month, from 5 campuses in Queens, including Queens College, York College, Queensborough Community College, LaGuardia Community College, and CUNY School of Law. And this is really an extension of that, of the solidarity that we showed a few weeks ago. And it's great to see familiar faces and Adam and John and Odalis, but also to see new people too. And I really love the energy here. I'm just thrilled to be here. Thank you for having me. I want to say a few words. Thank you. To talk about Stonewall, the Stonewall Rebellion in historical context from 1969. I think we sometimes forget 1969, homosexuality as it was called, was still illegal in 49 states, all but Illinois. You could be arrested, it was considered sodomy at the time, for soliciting homosexual activity, and this was the climate. What gay bars represented at the time was very significant. Not just places to go to socialize, to meet individuals, to come out, to be proud, but to be part of a community that often had to be hidden. So the significance of gay bars can't be exaggerated. Sort of reminded me the civil rights movement, the importance of churches to the African American community, places to organize, sing spirituals, to begin rallies, to organize rallies. I think gay bars were similar in this respect. And really, the Stonewall Inn, located on 51 Christopher Street in Lower Manhattan, Greenwich Village, was a popular gay bar in Lower Manhattan. It was controlled by the mafia, interestingly, and it was known for things like watered down drinks. It was a bit seedy, actually, in many ways, but it was important because it welcomed all people. It was particularly inclusive. Even the most marginalized within the LGBT community went to Stonewall. Transgender people, drag queens, homeless youth, diverse, Black, Latino, white. There was a spirit of inclusivity. And one thing special about the Stonewall Inn is that you could dance there, and that wasn't permitted at many other bars. So, just to think of what kind of a meeting space it was just tremendous. And even still, police raids on gay bars were common at this time. Police would barge in. You could be arrested for wearing non-gender appropriate clothing. That actually occurred. That was considered an offense. And again, these are pretty common, these police raids on gay bars, particularly in Lower Manhattan in the Village. And this is what happened. June 28, 1969, 1:20 a.m. 9 policemen entered the Stonewall Inn. It was a bit later than usual. Usually these raids took place early in the evening, then business resumed afterwards, but it was rather late. About 200 people were at the Stonewall Inn at the time. And initially, people thought, okay, here we go again. The police are here. I might be arrested because of my attire, because of my very presence here. And some people went along with the police, but not everybody. Not everybody, and some people began to resist arrests. And as they were being led out, fought with police. And one particular moment was, I think, really significant when a lesbian woman was fighting with the police, resisting the police, and looking at all the other patrons outside the Stonewall Inn on Christopher Street and said, why don't you do something too? Why don't you do something too? And it sort of was a spark, an inspiration. Like, yes, enough is enough. We will not endure this again. We will not be arrested. We will not go quietly. And the resistance increased, it intensified. Pretty soon, hundreds and hundreds and hundreds, about 1,000 people were outside the Stonewall Inn, June 28, 1969, and the confrontation escalated. So much so that the police retreated into the Stonewall Inn. They feared for their safety, and some people in the crowd actually even began, like, lit the Stonewall Inn on fire a little bit. There's a myth that somebody threw a brick through the window, and it's become part of this conversation. Who threw the brick through the window at the Stonewall Inn to really escalate the protest, the rebellion? It's kind of become a meme on social media. I think Madonna takes credit for it, but I digress. Anyway, these protests ensued for a few days, not just that night, but until July 1st, 3 days of protests. The media at the time was very disparaging. Even the Village Voice, a very progressive newspaper, I think treated the protesters as in a very pejorative way, very disparaging. But nevertheless, it really sparked activism, these protests, the formation of organizations. The Gay Liberation Front began to publicly advocate for gay rights. And we see Stonewall as a catalyst, as a pivotal moment, as a watershed moment where the LGBT community said, no longer will we be arrested quietly, no longer will we walk in shame. And that wounded look from people's faces began to disappear. The next year, June 28, 1970, the one-year anniversary was to mark the first Pride Parade in Manhattan. It spread to other cities, and the awareness increased, the visibility increased. And I sometimes get asked, what's the significance of Stonewall? And I could talk about legislation, the 1986 Gay Rights Bill in New York City, the 2011 same-sex marriage law passed in Albany at the state level. But I say it increased awareness and visibility. That change in your look, that change in the way you walked, that change in the expression on your face, that increase in empathy, that is empowering. And here we are today, we're continuing with this tradition, and it's an ongoing fight for increased visibility, awareness, and social justice. And I'm just really delighted to be here, and I want to thank you for having me. Thank you for collaborating with LaGuardia Community College, other schools in Queens, other organizations in Queens, and let's have some fun. Okay.